Hey everybody, I'm Svan from Freesoto.com. Today we'll show you how to hire a freelancer on Upwork. Let's jump right into it. First, let me show you how to create a job post. At the top right corner, you see a button, Post a Job. Click on it. And here you can select short-term or part-time work or designated longer-term work. You always select short-term or part-time work. The reason for this is you're looking for a new freelancer, and with a new freelancer, you always start with a small project. You wouldn't start with a big project. You start with a small project to test them out. If you do a big project on Upwork, you already know the freelancer, and there's a different way to hire them. So short-term or part-time work, continue. Write a title for your job post. In this case, my job post is thumbnail creation for YouTube. And then automatically Upwork recognizes that this is graphic design. Now this is important. When a new freelancer signs up to Upwork, they are put into a category depending on their skills. So a graphic designer is put into graphic design. An engineer, for example, would be put into engineering. And they can only apply to the categories where they are in, So the graphic designer is in graphic design, and that's what I want. Next is skills. Now you can choose a lot of things here, but actually you just need to choose one to go on with this. So I choose graphic design and next scope. Now scope is always small. And how long will the work take? Well, less than 1 month. And what I'm looking for is an intermediate. Next is budget. Now you can choose hourly rate or project budget. And I could make an entire video about this, but always choose project budget. Because I know exactly what I want. I've written a very precise project briefing, and I know this will cost around $30. Now this $30 is not set in stone. Think of this more like a starting point from where you will be haggling with the freelancer. But $30 is great. Next, review it. So now you see all the information again. The title is thumbnail creation for YouTube. Now it asks you for a description of your job. Now this is very important. I have written mine here. Hello, please create a U-tape thumbnail for me. The complete project briefing is in the Google Docs. Please read it carefully if you're interested and want to make a proposal. And then they follow this link. And all the information they will find in there. The next chapter I will dedicate explicitly to how to write the project proposal because it's so very important. Then attach a file. You never do that. Freelancers seem to be confused by this, so I always leave this empty. And then we have a recap. Category, graphic design, skills, graphic design, scope small, budget $30. And then there's 4 more things that you can choose from. I will just go over them quickly. So here, screening questions. Don't worry about those. Those are already in my project briefing, so I'd leave that empty. Advanced preferences. Here you can set filters of the kind of people that you want this to see. But also I leave this just as default. I want as many people as possible to see my job posting. And then job post preferences. Now here I always set it to only Upwork users. I don't want my proposal to fly around on Google and be searchable and stuff. So I just want this to stay on the Upwork platform. And then invite talent, also keep that empty. And then post your job. Next, I'll show you how to write a project brief, because this is where most clients fail. As a client, you need to tell the freelancer exactly what you want. The project brief forces you to do that. You should create your project brief within Google Slides. I will share my template with you down in the YouTube description. And now I will show you an example for a project brief I created for a thumbnail creation. So the project brief contains 4 different kinds of slides. 1 download slide, 1 title slide, the description slides, and 1 comprehension slide. The first slide of the brief is the download link. It guides the freelancer to your Dropbox or a Google Drive, where they can download all the project files like images and texts. For some reason, freelancers find it very difficult to download the project files. I don't know why. That's why you put the download link on the first slide. The second slide is the title. It contains the title image and the date. This is mostly for aesthetic reasons. Next are the project description slides. You can see that the structure is always the same. On the left side, there's an image, and on the right side, there's some letters, A, B, C, with descriptions. The last slide is the comprehension slide. Here you ask the freelancer some questions. that they should answer in their proposal. 1. Please describe how you would approach the project. 2. Please name the file format in which you will deliver the project. Also, you should ask for a timeline, milestones, and budget. And then finally, the anti-spam question. Many freelancers send you proposals without actually reading the brief. That's a major red flag. You have to filter them out immediately. They should include a code word in their proposal so you know they read it. For example, banana tree. You want to give the same job to multiple freelancers because you want to find the best. When you write the briefing in Google Slides, you can easily post the same job on several freelancer sites. Just share the link. Especially during the interview phase, the freelancers will tell you if they had any difficulties understanding your brief. On Google Slides, you can instantly update the project brief and resolve the questions for everybody else. Now let's look into how to invite freelancers to your job. This is a very powerful function on Upwork. You do this to reach those freelancers who are currently not actively searching for a job. This way they will get notified. You can invite up to 15 freelancers to your job. And if you pay $30 extra, you can invite even more. Freelancer invitations are especially useful if you require a very specific set of skills. The more specific the skills you need, the more you have to actively invite freelancers. Once you have posted your job, you're automatically forwarded to the Invite Freelancer page. In the search bar, you write what skills you're looking for. In my case, that's thumbnail, YouTube, graphic, design. Next, you click on Filters. The earned amount should be at least $1. You don't want no virgin freelancers. They should have at least some experience. Job success should be 90% or up. Everything below that is not good. I would highly recommend you work with someone near your own time zone, because then they respond more quickly. So in my case, I set the location to Europe. There will be a long list of freelancers. The first ones are Upwork's favorite. So if you're looking for new talent, you should scroll down and search on page 3 or 4. By clicking on their picture, you can look at the individual profiles. I will show you in the next chapter how to read freelancer profiles. If it's a good fit, click on Invite to Job. You could write them a custom message, but I've realized that this doesn't really make a difference. Continue with this process and invite all the freelancers that you want. Next, you should understand how to read a freelancer profile. First, you should check if their portfolio looks nice. The freelancer should put love and care into the overall presentation. If they did it well, there's a good chance your project will go well too. First, look at the job success. If it's below 90%, don't even bother, because clients already give very good reviews on Upwork. For a freelancer to get below 90%, it must be really bad. Next, look at the earnings. You want someone who has worked at least once before on Upwork. You don't want to be the client teaching the freelancer how to work. Don't be misled or turned away by high hourly rates. They are completely useless. You will see freelancers with a $75 hourly rate, and then they do projects for $5. It makes no sense. I call this the snob effect. They set the hourly rate so high just to seem more professional. Also read through the client reviews. Sometimes you will find some interesting facts in there. Many long, positive reviews praising the freelancer are good. Look out for reviews without feedback given. If you find many of those, that's a red flag. Even a 5-star rating with no comment probably means the client was so frustrated he didn't even want to leave a review. So how do you interview freelancers? Well, you should wait at least 24 hours between posting your job and the start of the interview process. You want to give them some time to write the proposals. You see, I've gotten 67 proposals for my YouTube thumbnail job. First, I will go through all the freelancers in the list and filter out the ones who missed the code word. In my case, that's banana tree. They obviously didn't read the project brief. You can just give them a thumbs down to filter them out. With the remaining ones, see how much money they want for the job. For example, I suggested a price of $30, and I'm not willing to pay more, so I filter them out. Next, look at their job success. Everyone under 90%, filter them out. Next is money earned. This tells you their level of experience on Upwork. Filter out anyone with $0 earned. Now look at them in detail. Look at their portfolio. their past work, and what other clients said about them. I would recommend narrowing it down to 10 freelancers or so, because doing more than 10 interviews is just overwhelming. First, you message them. You could ask questions like, have you done a project like this before? What is your current availability? Do you understand the job? Do you have any questions for me? If you're satisfied with the answers, you should schedule a video call. It is very important that you don't skip the video call with the freelancer that you want to hire. Make the video call short. 5 minutes is enough. You can tell so much from a person when seeing them live. Are they on time? Are they friendly? Can they speak English? During the video call, you can ask the same questions you already asked in the messenger. It's really not so much about the questions. At this point, you already know that the freelancer has skill. You just want to get a feeling for the person. If a freelancer says they can't do a video call, that's a big red flag. I've experienced it time and time again. If I skip the video call with the freelancer, the project will go bad. So after a good video call, you should hire them. And don't just hire one freelancer. I know it's expensive, but hire 3 people for the same job, because you need to compare their work. You want to find the best. Now I want to show you how to work in Freesoto. Freesoto is a tool we created to help you stay organized while you try to find the best freelancer. You should try it out. All freelancers go through a funnel, from sourcing, to messaging, to video call, to hiring. And finding a new freelancer is a huge amount of work, and you're gathering a lot of information along the way. So if you don't keep track of this information, it will all be lost. And let's say I need more graphic designers in half a year. I can just go back to Freesoto and hire the next guy. I want to give you a quick overview of the site. At the top right, you have the option to add freelancers and projects. My current project is a thumbnail creation for YouTube. And the first column on the left is the source column. And all the 10 freelancers, which I pre-selected on Upwork, I copied into Freesoto. Now I will run them through the process I've described in the previous chapters. You can see here I can move these freelancer cards from one column to another. And let's say I've chatted a bit with Mauro and asked him a few questions. So now I would move him into messaged. And you can also see here that I talked to Marina and that didn't go so well. So I marked her red and she won't proceed to the next round. After I chatted with Mauro, I will schedule a video call and move him to the next column. And while I do all this vetting, Freesoto allows me to constantly take notes on the freelancer and rate them. I will show you how in a second. So the project is now complete, and as you can see, I've hired 3 freelancers and they worked in parallel. So that's Hussein, Alvin, and Ahmed. And these 3 guys have proceeded through all 3 stages, but the best guy was Ahmed Hosni, and there's a detailed view of him, and you can see that I rated him along the way. First, I rated him during the interview phase, first impression, responsiveness, comprehension, and friendliness. And after I decided to hire him, the view changed, and I rated him on delivery time, quality of work, responsiveness, bug fix speed, and friendliness. And down here you can see my project notes. So the project started on April 4th, and then I took a lot of notes while we were working together. And on May 5th, I did a final recap. The notes are really important. The stars are also great, but if I really want to understand what has happened, the notes tell the whole story. It also helps me to remember what has happened in the past. Let's say I come back in 1 year and I need more graphic designers. I can just read my notes and I will remember all about the freelancers and the project. Or I could come back and talk to all these other freelancers which haven't yet moved through the funnel. How do you actually hire on Upwork? Well, it's very simple. You just click on hire and then you get to this overview. Because you're not actually immediately hiring, you're making an offer which the freelancer needs to accept before the contract starts. So the project price will be fixed. It will be $30. Next is to deposit the funds into escrow. You could choose to immediately deposit the entire amount, or you could define a lesser amount to cover the first milestone. Now, this is a $30 project, so it's kind of ridiculous to create milestones. But if you're doing a project for more than $100, you should start using milestones. Then you don't have to pay all the money up front, but instead only installments of the complete project price. Very important is to specify the deadline. I do this 3 times. First, I tell the freelancer in the messenger how important the deadline is to me. Secondly, I specify the deadline when hiring. So for example, I can choose the 19th of April. And thirdly, I also post the deadline into the work details. I'm so precise about this because I've canceled projects in the past when freelancers have not met the deadline and didn't tell me about it. Then you want your money back, and the Upwork staff will be on your side if you have specified the deadline so rigorously. Finally, you have to agree to the Upwork terms and click on Continue. Next, you get to select your billing method, and then you click on Fund, Contract, and Hire. And now the offer has been sent to the freelancer, and you will need to wait until they accept or decline. If you want to hire more freelancers to the project, you can do that now. Let's talk about how to review freelancers on Upwork. In the dashboard, you see the freelancers which are currently working on your projects. Once they have completed their work and they have submitted the files, they request the payment from you. So you're asked to review and pay. You click on that and it shows you an overview with the amount requested. And you click on Approve and Pay. And Upwork asks you if you want to add a bonus. In my case, I don't, so I leave this unchecked. And I send the payment. You see here that the payment has been approved. In this case, there was only one milestone in this project. If there would have been more, you could now activate the next milestone. But if you want to rate the freelancer, you have to click on Cancel Contract. And it asks you, are you sure you want to end the contract? And I say yes. So it will end the contract. And it asks me to leave a feedback. First is the private feedback. You can select a reason for ending the contract. Most of the time, you will hopefully select that the job was completed successfully. Next, you're asked, how likely are you to recommend this freelancer to a friend or a colleague? And you can add a text here, but it's private and optional, so I never bother. No one will ever see this, so what's the point? Then you rate their English. I say it's fluent. And next we get to the more important part, the public feedback. I have to admit, I often find myself in a moral dilemma when rating freelancers. Keep in mind, even if the project was not great, a bad rating really destroys the future job prospects of the freelancer on Upwork, and I don't really want this. So most clients, me included, tend to rate too positively, and thereby skewing the stats. So here's my rating system. If a job was fantastic and I was blown away by the quality, I write a long and very nice review. If the job was good, I give 5 stars and I write something short like, good job. If the job was not great, I tend to give 4 stars and leave no feedback. Only if the job was horrible and I didn't get my money back from the freelancer, then I will give a bad rating with a long explanation why. You see, it's all about the nuances. It's like with Google Maps. You don't go to a restaurant with less than 4 stars. But in this case, the job was done well, so I give 5 stars all around, and I write the public review, good job, thanks. And that's it. Then I end the contract. And after that, you can also rate Upwork, your Upwork experience if you like it. Thank you for watching until the end. It would be great if you take a look at freesoto.com and the newsletter. Both links are in the YouTube description. With the newsletter, I will let you know when a new video comes out or when we update the functionality of Freesoto. Just leave your full name and your email address on the newsletter page. It's a double opt-in. Thank you and have a wonderful day.